The free fall of Naira to dollar and other currencies across the globe has become a source of worry to both the central bank, the federal government, state and experts in the business and financial sector. Our correspondent iBrandTV and this report takes a look at the fall of Naira from 2015 to 2022 despite the belief by most Nigerians that the Buhari-led administration will equal the Naira to $1.
Naira continued to depreciate against the US dollar with no specific price on the black markets. The demand for the US dollar has increased after the recent pronouncement by the CBN on redesigning the Naira notes. On the black market, where the exchange rate of the currency is largely determined by the level of demand for the dollar, the Naira has constantly went far above twice the official bank rates. Though the issue around an alleged pronouncement made by President Muhammadu Buhari in a political rally in 2015 that he will equal Naira to the dollar was debunked by the presidency, analysts over time have suggested that it was the reason why President Muhammadu Buhari on December 28, 2015 said he does not support the devaluation of the Naira despite indications that the exchange rate does not reflect the true state of the economy. A business and financial expert, Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed, gave an insight on this.
I mean, the exchange rate was in the parallel market was 216 to $1, but in the official market it was 198. And at that time, I remember IMF and World Bank saying Nigerian Naira was overpriced. I remember that time the price of crude has come down to about $40 per barrel at that time, from a height of about $80, $90 to $40 per barrel. So at that time, our foreign reserve was about $28 billion at that time. So looking at all this, they said our Naira was overpriced. And remember, we were doing what we call a managed floating of our Naira. We manage the float of our Naira. I mean, we try to determine the price by control. So because we didn't have that much in the reserve, they felt that the Naira was overpriced. And so they said that we should devalue our currency. And because the president has promised that exchange rate is going to be $1 to a Naira, he wasn't ready to do that.
The interbank trading rate of the country's local currency in 2015 remained at a rather constant rate of around 196 and 197 Naira mark, but the parallel market is otherwise. In trying to sustain the exchange rate, Governor of the CBN, Godwin Emefiele, on February 18, 2016, stopped the sale of foreign exchange to bureau de change operators as part of measures to reduce the pressure on the Naira. The policy did not help the situation, rather worsened it.
You revoke the license of the bureau de change, which I personally support, because it's only in Nigeria you see people stay in the hand, stay on the road, and be putting calculator and be telling you, and there's no any policy on determining the exchange rate. You just wake up and say, oh, today is 500, tomorrow is 600, next tomorrow is 300. You know, there's no. And again, they were getting this money from CBN. They were supposed to be making like 2 to 3 Naira. Rather, they were making up to 50 to 60 Naira. So CBN got upset and revoked their licenses. Now, where this the challenge is that when CBN revoked their licenses, it did not create a market for those people that usually patronize the bureau de change to go and be accessing dollar. That became a problem. Demand and supply came to play again, and we saw the exchange rate goes up.
Latest amongst the policies of the central bank is to redesign the Naira note. What does business minds think of this policy?
Better time for any good policy. Now, what the CBN was trying to do, we have all over the world, they are grappling with what we call inflation. Inflation has become a problem. And some of these tools that you use to control inflation is your monetary policy and mopping up of liquidity. Now, if you print about 3 trillion, out of the 3 trillion, that's what you have in the banking space. It's about 1.something trillion. That tells you about 80% of your printed money are not in the banking space. So how do you control inflation? So that no government, no CBN governor will just allow its Naira to begin to flow like that. That was basically one of the economic decisions. So what we are seeing now, as today, CBN said they've been able to receive $50 billion within 2 weeks has find themselves into the banking space. 50 billion. We are still just 2 weeks into the policy. So definitely, you can't fault it with the numbers that they are giving us. I mean, it is a right decision. But in the short term, we are going to see the inflation goes up because, like I said, demand and supply will come to play because most of our products are imported. Those people will not be able to access CBN windows because of time factor. And again, CBN doesn't even have enough, even for those for school fees, for traveling allowance. They have not been able to provide so much for people. So that's why I think the challenge is in the short term we could see that, but in the long term, it could help stabilize our currency.
The governor of CBN, Emefiele, I want to believe has the interest of Nigeria at heart, because that is what is very important. And I want to believe the decision to set deadline to redesign Naira and set deadline to recall all the old Naira and set deadline of 31st January. Over 3 trillion Naira that is meant to be within the banking sector for the entire country, businesses, individuals to, to trade with, via deposit and via withdrawal. And the CBN is saying that over 2 trillion cannot be accounted for. So, and some people have this in their homes. I think it's very important that we have it back in the system so that we can, it can be for small scale business, medium scale, and everybody, to have and trade with.
As the dollar moved towards 1,000 naira to a dollar, inflation rising above 20% and food scarcity looms, Nigerians may be waiting for more difficult times. I, Buji Warrior, reporting for iBrandTV News.